think if you look at how well we played, excuse me, at both ends.
What about the job Marble and Oglesby did on stops?
They were locked in defensively. They had some help. I thought we did a much better job on ball screen action than we did when we were up there. I mean, I think you have to against them. They do so many different things with ball screens and space, and dribble lats. You know, we were pretty much, you know, locked into collectively going after Stauskas. But I think, you know, your point about Dev is a good one. You know, it's very difficult to go get 26 in a game like this, and at the same time guard the other team's best player. It's one of the reasons why we didn't put him on him up there. You know, I didn't want to do that to him. I didn't want to get him in foul trouble. But I just said, you know, Dev, you got to go get him. You got to do it at both ends. And when he does that, I think it has great impact on everyone else's energy, everybody else's performance. I thought collectively, I mean, I think to a man, I mean, everybody I put in the game played well.
See, was Dev's performance the type of performance that you look for out of him, and also just in general out of the player?
Well, you know, I think more importantly, he looks for it out of himself. I mean, he has very high expectation for himself. He's, you know, a tremendous leader. He doesn't, you know, there's never a hangover with him if he doesn't play well or if he has an off night. He just comes right back to work, and he's incredibly professional that way. And again, that has great impact on how we prepare and how we, you know, bounce back from a difficult defeat. Because, you know, you come to practice the next day, nobody wants to watch the film, and, you know, nobody really wants to go through it. But it's okay. We're moving on. What are we going to do to beat Michigan? Let's go. And he was really good in terms of his leadership there.
Fran, can you talk about the defense your team played in light of the way they played the second half the other night, to play defense the way they did the entire game tonight?
We felt like, I mean, to beat Michigan, you have to play the kind of defense that we played. They have so many different weapons. You know, so it was not only, you know, getting stops, it was getting stops and then running, and getting offensive opportunities in transition, and not giving them seconds. I mean, they killed us with second shots up there. And we were essentially trading baskets and get down to the end, and they scored at the end, and we didn't, and they won. So we get stops, we get run-out opportunities, and then we have a chance to, you know, get a lead extended.
Fran, that was one of your most efficient first halves I've seen. I think 9 out of 10 of your first baskets had assists. What did it say about your transition, the way Gazelle was able to run it? He had his stat line was pretty.
Been just getting better game by game. You can see it. Obviously, in the two losses we had here at home against two very good teams, we got down 10-2, 10-3. You know, it takes a lot of effort to get back in and get it to even, get a lead. It was great to be able to get a lead today. I thought it really engaged the crowd, and I thought the Hawkeye fans were as good as I've seen them since I've been here. In particular, in that stretch in the second half defensively, when I had 3 or 4 guys at the table, and guys were exhausted, but they were still fighting, sliding their feet, diving on the floor, all over the glass. That was a big stretch in the game.
Mike, you got 10, 8, 4, and 3 out of him. Would you say that that's as complete a performance as you've seen?
Well, especially in light of the fact that he played that kind of defense as well. And we talked about that, but Mike Cassell defensively today was absolutely spectacular. He had 3 steals, but he could have had 5 or 6. He got his hands on a lot of balls. He got some rebounds. I mean, he was really competitive.
Did you get any insight from the game in Michigan for getting a good game plan together for how to guard Stauskas?
Well, what we did was we decided to put Marble on him. We thought that would be a better match, and he was really good.
Fran, how big was the start? Because
Huge.
Michigan doesn't fight back that often, and they haven't had a double-digit deficit like that in very many games. But to put them in a hole early and to make them try to fight out of it,
you know, it changes everything. You know, you know, you shoot threes? Do you not shoot threes? Do you drive it? Do you grind it? You know, when you're behind, it changes your entire approach. You know, we felt like they were going to keep coming. You know, I thought LeVert in particular, you know, he impressed me with how he mixed his game. I thought, you know, they didn't, and I wouldn't have expected them to panic and start taking crazy shots and driving into packs of people. They stayed with their offense. They make you guard their stuff. And I think typically they're able to score, but our defense today, as I said, was the best it's been. anything short of that, they're going to keep scoring.
When your team has a shooting night with perimeter as it did Tuesday and comes back with a performance like this, what was your approach in between? Did you just dismiss it altogether, or do you say keep shooting?
I always say keep shooting. It's just the way I am. I never want my guys to have any doubt in their minds that they're going to shoot the ball and it's going to go in. You know, so, you know, as far as the first part of your question specifically, our first meeting normally would be review Ohio State, review the good things and the mistakes that happened in that game. We did not do that. We agreed. We did not play with the intensity level necessary to beat that team for 40 minutes. We hung around, we did some good things. Let's not talk about, hey, this was good, this was bad. Move on. We know what Michigan is. They've already beaten us once. They're in first place in our league. We know who they have. All right, let's focus and lock into what do we have to do differently? What can we do better? And let's try to get performances out of more people than we had against Ohio State, which we clearly did.
Zach was one of those guys.
Well, you know, I brought Zach in after, excuse me, after the Ohio State game. I said, I think you're pressing to do too much from the three-point line. I said, you're a good three-point shooter, but you're a good basketball player. You can post up, you can feed the post, you know, you can handle the basketball, you can pass it. So let's maybe shoot a few less threes and shot fake drive it, throw it, move it on, make a play for somebody else. You look at his stat line, and that's who Zach McCaffery is. And so I'm just thrilled for him. He had a big smile.
Did you sense desperation, and this is a positive word, desperation from your team that coming off those two losses, that they were really zeroed in, focused in on the game plan and had a bounce in their step going into this game?
I thought they had great focus. I in no way, shape, or form was anything remotely close to desperation.
Fran, Marvel's performance today might overshadow what Mike did. How much of what Mike did today helps Marvel and White be able to have this?
You're right. I mean, they help each other. I mean, you're absolutely right. When they're playing like that, when you have guard play like that, it changes everything. In terms of everything that happens, whether we're running sets, whether we're in motion, whether we're in transition, and you know, because you turn the ball over 14 times, which we did up there, you're not winning. You're not winning in Ann Arbor if you turn it over 14 times. I don't care what you shoot, because that's 28 points typically. And you know, 7 turnovers, we can live with that. We had that one little stretch in the first half, we turned it over a couple times, and they scored. That's what they do. So I was proud of our team's ability to take care of the basketball.
Talk about the 50-50 ball that obviously got in front of their bench, and then the offensive rebound.
Well, you know, to see how many guys were down on the floor today, Jess, I thought was really important. That in particular was a big momentum play in the game, no question, because he dove on the floor, got the timeout. You know, very intelligent play. I thought Josh was great.
What is it about this team that you guys respond so well after losses?
I think we've been through a lot. I think we have an experienced team. We have really good guards. We have multiple players that can step up for you if somebody's not playing well. I think we have a belief in ourselves that, you know, there's never any panic. And I think we have a willingness to look within ourselves and say, okay, what we lost. Okay, we're not a group of finger pointers. They don't blame each other. They don't blame me. They look at the film and they study it and they try to get better. And they're honest with themselves. And I think if you do that, you're more likely to be able to come back and play better in the next game.
There was a
Jared
coach in the
I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
You guys have given up large leads before this season. How much growth did it show tonight that you were able to expand on a lead instead of see it whittled away?
Well, I think it's a big step. I think you're typically more likely to do that at home. It's a little tougher on the road, but I think it was a big step for us.
Coach, the stretch of the second half where you took you had 4 of your starters on the bench, and your guys not only kept the lead, but you extended it. And that play that Jess was talking about was included in there. Is that really the essence of your depth right there, that you can do that and extend a lead?
You know, a lot of times when you go to your bench, you know, you just can't wait to get those guys back in the game, and that's never the case. I just put those guys in, I see how they do. I want to stay with them. They make mistakes, I stay with them. Eventually I'll get them out. Typically it's when they're tired. You know, and sometimes they'll play a little longer, sometimes they'll play a little less. And, you know, I felt like when I put Marble back in, I wanted him to be able to get to the wire without another rest. So I, you know, was comfortable leaving him, we had a lead, leave him out a little longer. Josh is doing fine. Mike was fine. He was solid when he was in there. And it's, you know, it's terrific to be able to have that kind of flexibility when you're sitting there trying to manage the game and get from, say, the 15-minute mark to 12-minute mark home.
Well, you were stunned at Michigan because your bench did not play well, and that caught you off guard.
That was one of the few times all year.
Yeah,
It
so they
really was.
responded, obviously.
You know, and it was the only time all year when I put those guys in together that none of them really produced the way they're capable of. So, yeah.
Jared.
Will finally come up for a little air a week between games. What are you going to do with this week?
Well, you know, we'll do a lot. I mean, we'll go recruiting a little bit, obviously, take advantage of that time.